I'm going to freak you out. Are you ready?
No.
Are you teachable? Are you transparent? Are you trustworthy? But most importantly, have you been transformed by the Lord?
There's one more.
Is there one more? I looked on the website and I only found 4. I thought there was 5. What is the other one?
Okay, hold on.
I tried to do my Charlotte voice.
Oh, I had PTSD. There are 4, but I added one. I added one so much that so people were calling it the 5 T's.
I always thought there were 5 T's.
I gotta remember what it was, but I always said this is how influential I am. I was like, the 5 T's. And Charlotte would always get so mad at me. She's like, there's 4. And I'm like, nope, don't forget. And I can't remember what the 5th one was. But then I also would do it just to be an ass because it was wrong. Nope, there's 5. We got to have this one. And I would always say, oh, yeah, the 5 T's. And she's like, there's 4 T's.
That is so funny because in my head, there were 5. And so in preparation for this episode, I went back on their website and I looked and I was like, oh, I thought I was wrong. But no, that was when you left. She ditched your T.
I know.
It is lost in Come As You Are, Lord. No one will ever know the 5th T.
If I think of it, I promise I will drop it here somewhere. But I'm going to think about it this whole, it might come back around. But it was one of those things where I think I really feel like it happened on accident, right? Like I really was just like, aren't there like the 4? I don't like the number 4. Let's do 5.
Well, and I always
came up with the T word, and now I don't know what the T word was, but then I did it mostly just to piss Charlotte off.
Well, and I always thought it was like because we had the 5 purposes, and then we had the 5 T's.
Right, and I feel like that might be where I got a little confused, but...
Oh, that's funny. I thought there were legit 5, and then I thought I was like, oh, maybe I was wrong.
No, that was just me. And then people would say it, so she would get so mad. Oh, and then I remember, like, honestly, we would, during this time, she would be like, and if you're Melissa, there's 5 T's. Don't forget Melissa's 50. Like, it came up to a couple meetings where we would be talking about it. She'd make snide comments. I'll think of it. I promise eventually.
So I'm sure as we get going, you're going to just randomly pop it and be like, this is it.
Faith can feel like hearts and butterflies until someone lights a match and burns it all to the ground. Welcome to the Burning Butterflies podcast.
The sad thing is that there's abuse of every kind within the church. But the spiritual abuse is the stuff that just
a place there shouldn't be abuse. Like, there just shouldn't be abuse in a place that claims Jesus.
Well, it ruins your soul. If you're new here, we suggest listening to our prologue episode first. This is the story of 2 women's journey through toxic church culture and spiritual abuse, all while finding healing in the end.
Sometimes it's just the facts, and if you get offended by it, that's a you issue. And if we can't be mature enough to have these conversations, even if some of the topics are difficult, then shame on us.
So when we left last week's episode, we talked about how Charlotte has built this friendship with Miss America. She is having this little private Bible study thing on Thursday nights. Her and Miss America are doing it together, and it feels very much like almost like propaganda. Like Charlotte is trying to push Miss America onto the women of Come As You Are and trying to sell it as what a great person Miss America is. And it's not really working out the way she hoped it would because, and I cannot stress this enough, Barry and Miss America were highly unlikable.
Yeah.
Like, they were so unlikable, and they tried so hard to like look put together and look the part and say the right things, but the way they would say them, they would come across as being very condescending, very prideful.
It was so fake. Like, it's
and
like
fake, yes.
Everything they said was like rehearsed, memorized, scripted. It was, if you could just imagine, like, we all just like talk, hey, what's up, how's it going? Or they'd be like, hello, I am doing well, how about yourself? Like, they were like,
yes,
literally not even like awkward or trying to hide it, or like there's no like, because you meet some people who are just awkward socially, right? And there's like even that is like natural in its coming forth, right? But they were literally like, if you can imagine, like even like Third Rock from the Sun, right? Where they're saying things that aren't necessarily like what you would say in normal conversation, but you might find it in a like guide on how to talk to people at church. Say this line. That's what it was like. Creepy.
Yes, very creepy. They were so unlikable that it's not just me. It's not Brandy. It's not Melissa at this time. It is multiple people, dozens and dozens of people from the church are telling Tom and Charlotte how off-putting Barry and Miss America are. And so at this time, it's almost like Charlotte is on this Miss America crusade, right? She's campaigning for Miss America to be likable and to be a part of women's ministry. And Charlotte is almost, which I guess, I don't know how she treated you, but she definitely treated me like, well, you're being a mean girl to Miss America. You're just being mean to her. And you're not letting her in the group. And we have to include people. And she's new. And she's never done this before. And you have to be nice to her.
Yeah.
Is kind of how Charlotte treated me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like I got my own version of that. But I mean, the same exact points that you're making, like, it was definitely like we were all of a sudden some clique and we weren't letting her in.
Yeah.
And we were being chastised for it. But we're like, no, like, these people are weird. And not weird like I'm weird. We have a lot of weird people. Like, like I said, it was like they had scripts and had memorized and were like not being themselves in any way, shape, or form, and just saying what they thought they were saying what they thought they were supposed to say.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't natural. It was weird. I don't know how to express that like any more than like that was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess for me, I really was trying not to interact with her as much as I possibly could. Like, she was doing stuff for like the social media ministry and things like that. And it was very much, anytime I would try to like critique her or say like, hey, do you want to do a post about this? Or do you like, it was very like, I felt like I had to walk on eggshells with her because any little thing could hurt her feelings.
Yeah.
And I felt like anything I said that she felt like I was criticizing her, it would be turned around that like I was being mean and demanding. And she definitely played into that, like, Amanda is bossy.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes. Oh, did you think of it?
I I think I've deleted most everything off of my
Everything.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I decided to go into my Google account that I used with the church. And I looked up and I found an agenda from, this is so dumb. Meeting agenda, annual women's ministry commitment meeting and foundations training. This is what we were doing.
Oh, with the T's. Okay.
This is what we were doing. The training was, we were going to have oh my God, this just unlocked. Okay. We were going to have a training. Like we wanted to do let's get all the women on board, right? And offer a commitment and foundations training, right? So we've had so many new women, we've had people leave, right? We are going to come together and we want to train up our women. But this is the same thing we were doing church level too, because Amanda wanted to make Come As You Are great again, right?
Yeah. I got mad and I went and cried to Tom.
Okay, but we were doing that as a whole in
Yes.
the church. But if you know anything, if you want anybody to do anything, who's there doing it? The women. So we have to get the women on board, right? So we decide that we are going to do this in January of 2021. We are going to have a training conference. It is going to be a foundations training, right? We want to get all the women together. It's kind of like a leadership training, right? And it's going to be in January. And so we are planning this. Now, this meeting is Charlotte, me, Brandy, and Miss America. This is the four of us. We were planning this.
Core four.
Okay? So we're planning this. And I have a lot to say about this, but I want you to continue where you were at, and then we'll get into this, because now that my brain has just opened this whole file of, oh my gosh, I remember this meeting, and this is some crazy stuff. But we decided that we were going to talk about the Come As You Are mission statement, right? The purpose statement. We wanted women to know what the church was about. So basically kind of like a 101, right? For women, but with a twist for women. We're going to review the lifestyle statement that the church had, which was on the back of the bulletin every Sunday.
That no one lived by.
We can read that. That might be great for Patreon. And then what is the women's ministry mission, vision, and verse statement? Which we have. What are the 5 purposes of the church? And then what are the 4 T's? Teachable, transparent, trustworthy, transformed, and right here in writing it says in parentheses, and Melissa's summation. Totally sold out. With a laughy face.
Because we forgot you slung the Kool-Aid too. Look at you.
I slung the Kool-Aid every Sunday behind a microphone. And also sometimes I didn't, and I never got in trouble, and I could never figure out why I was allowed to say some of the stuff that I said on stage and was never corrected for, ever. And I was like, that's weird. So anyway, yeah, we could talk all about that. So I'm sorry, you go ahead, and then when you want to talk about what happened in this meeting.
No, I want to know what happened in this meeting, because I don't think I know about this meeting. So let me just finish what I was saying.
Yes,
and then
please.
we can, yeah. So what I was saying is, like, for me, I really didn't have a lot to do with this because I was avoiding Miss America. And I had decided a long time ago that like I'm done with women's ministry, but like Hope 2020 like was my nail in my coffin. Like when I was expected without even being asked like to just build all of Charlotte's pet stuff, I was like, nope, F this, I'm out. Screw you. I'm done with women's ministry for good. Like I'm done with the breakfast, I'm done with the all the things. I'm done. Because before I had just stopped going to retreat. Now I'm done with the ministry altogether. And so I kind of was like, I'm avoiding Miss America because anything I say to her, she gets her feelings hurt and she cries. So I'm just going to avoid her. And besides, I've already picked a fight with Barry by having this meeting with him and asking him these questions about himself that he couldn't answer, that he wrote down, and he'll get back to me shortly, which it takes a few weeks for him to get back to me.
He was using the Pony Express.
Yeah. And so I was like, I can't really, like, I was very, very aware that there was an agenda being pushed, and I was trying to, it was almost like I was trying to gaslight myself into like, no, Tom wouldn't do that. Charlotte wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that, right? And so it was almost like I was trying to convince myself that I was wrong, but I was very aware that I was right.
Yeah.
And so I made a conscious decision to basically be like, Brandy was going up against Miss America. And Brandy was constantly telling Charlotte, she said this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. So I'm like, I'm going to let Brandy fight that fight, and I'm going to fight the Barry fight. Yeah. Because if both of us are mad at both of them, then it just, you know, Tom and Charlotte could be like, well, you just don't like them.
Yeah.
You know, so you kind of had to pick your battles.
Yeah.
So I picked Barry, and Brandy very much picked Miss America. But I forgot that you guys were going to do. Did we ever do that meeting? Did we ever do that training? Did it ever come to fruition?
No. I don't think it did.
Because the videos we're going to talk about tonight were such a pain in the ass.
I honestly, I think because this meeting, I think we decided not to do it because of what happened in this meeting. And this meeting took place like on January 9th. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, go for it. Get into it. I'm intrigued now.
Okay. So whoever the powers that be, right, decided, I don't know, like you have, let me catch us up to where we were at, right? You've got Melissa and Brandy were supposed to take over women's ministry. You know, definitely Brandy was on the forefront of that, and I was being dragged along. But, you know, promises were made, and I quit my job, and I was all in. I was the fifth T, totally sold out. And, but we got to the, you know, COVID happened, and then we had to do that women's retreat, and Barry and Miss America show up, and there's like this weird promotion of them from Tom and Charlotte. And when I say weird, I mean weird, like really, really weird, because Charlotte's toting her around, and we are all just like, this is red flag, red flag, red flag. And so we get to this point where we're like, and this is church wide, right? We're going to make Come As You Are great again. And everybody's doing there. We have to redo the purposes, and we had to redo all of these things, get everybody brainwashed again, essentially. And so we are going to do these we decide we're making these videos, right? Like a training manual. I don't know, like, I guess I was, for lack of a better word, like it was 101 for women, right? This is your training guide to women's ministry. And the reason that Brandy and I were so hot to do this was because of Miss America, right? So that meeting with Charlotte, Miss America, Brandy and I was Brandy and I showing up because Miss America needed to get on board because she didn't know anything. She wasn't doing anything. She wasn't participating in anything, but she wanted to run everything. Like, by this point, by the time we get to we're going to do this, right? Because Charlotte had done her thing where she manipulates situations and moves time frames and offers up, like, you know what we need to do? You know what we could do, ladies? You know what we could do? We should do this thing. And you know what? We need to get some more women on board. So let's open it up to other women, right? And then nobody signs up but Miss America, right? Or something like that, right? It's all done as a manipulation to put her in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, because this was never put in the bulletin to, like,
No,
hey, we're gonna have this meeting.
Yeah. No, this particular meeting that I just found was something different between the four of us, right? Like, because we were now the leaders of this women's ministry orientation that we were going to do. But everything leading up to this was definitely manipulated by Charlotte, and things were made to happen. Like, it's just God's timing, or I'm just going to move around the church calendar and only invite 2 people. And, oh, look, they both said yes, right? You know what I mean? So she was orchestrating things in women's ministry to make it easy and accessible for Miss America to show up, right, and participate. But she wasn't doing anything. So on one hand, I feel really bad because Charlotte had to work really hard, right? So this thing, because she wouldn't show up to anything. She wouldn't help with anything. She wouldn't serve at anything. They were not serving at anything. They showed up on a Sunday. They acted like Stedford people with their pre-scripted conversation prompts, and they were kissing Charlotte and Tom's butt to take over, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's really, and they weren't doing anything other than that. And so we get to this point where we're doing this, and all of a sudden now, right? It's because it started out, if I remember correctly, it started out that she got her feet wet because she was you now.
Yes.
Okay, so she's the PR person essentially. So if we're going to do it, we have to include her so she could put it on the website. You understand that all the stuff that you would have done, it would be like having you involved.
Yeah.
You're not leading it. You don't want to be a part of it, but we have to work with you to have it promoted in the church properly.
So at that point, she was the person who, anything that needed to go in the bulletin for women's ministry, and I believe even youth group, because Charlotte kind of had her hands in youth and children's at that point. Miss America was creating all of that stuff. Yeah. And then she would send it to me and Lori in the office, and we were still putting the bulletins together. I still had full control of the website.
Right.
And Miss America would say, I want to put this on the website, but I did not have trust at all. And so I held the website very, very tightly.
Yeah. And so while all that is going on with you, she's being like billed that way, right?
And I'm pretty sure at this point, she's also taken over the women's ministry. Like, I don't have anything to do with the Facebook group.
Right. Yeah.
She is 100. That is her and Charlotte. And I handed that over gladly, because I'm going to tell you, Charlotte is the most micromanaging, pain in the ass person to deal with when it comes to stuff like that. So I was like, oh, Miss America wants to do it? Here you go, sweetie. Have fun.
Yeah. And so I feel like this is the platform in which they pushed her in, right? Mm-hmm. This is how it was billed, but it was completely bait and switch, because we get to a point where Brandy and I realize like she's wants to be in charge. And at this point, you have to understand that we don't realize that Charlotte is behind all of this, that Charlotte is the puppet master, that she's pulling the strings, right? We're watching the puppet show, and the puppet wants to take over. And I mean, honestly, we get to, and we're kind of jumping over the timeline to get to when this meeting happened, because it happened in January. So when we come in the next few episodes, we're going to like kind of catch up some of these gaps. But, you know, so what happens is we get to a point where it's just flat out, she wants to be in charge. Well, she's never done anything. And so this puts Brandy. Yeah. And Brandy, like you said, is going to Charlotte. She's like, but she said this and she lied about this and this doesn't make sense. And she's not doing this. And what is going on, right?
And Brandy's biggest thing from day one is fairness and truthfulness. So if Brandy feels like you're not being fair, if you haven't had to pull your weight like everyone else has had to pull their weight, or if you're trying to take credit for stuff that you haven't done, instant pissed off.
Yeah.
Instant.
Yeah. And so I really feel now, hindsight 2020, that us having to do all this in women's ministry was a convenient ploy of like reading the Bible.
Yeah, it's the same reason why the whole church had to read the whole Bible in 6 months.
Because this had to get Miss America on board. But it caused a huge, huge problem. And so this particular meeting that I'm going to talk about is a meeting about that problem, right? So it's disguised as the 4 leaders of this event that's going to happen, this training, the women, the 4 core, right? Or the core 4, right?
The core 4. I just watched like the whole Scream series recently, so that's
what that was from.
It's from like 5 and 6. Core 4.
The core 4. Okay, I thought that was funny because I was like, that sounds like something, but I don't know. So the core 4, right? So we get together. This meeting does not go as planned because Brandy and I are like a united front, and we're like, and she keeps saying she's going to lead. Like at this point, it is out. She's leading. Like she is going to be it's not like I'm going to be the women's ministry leader. Like it's not like that. And it's not like Charlotte saying, well, she's going to be, but she's leading something in women's ministry. Right. But I know it wasn't like Charlotte was stepping down and she's going to be the new leader. Right. It was like she's surpassing Brandy and I. Right.
You two have been putting in your time for years.
Yes. Yeah. But we're like, well, what are you going to lead? Like, what are you trying to, what do you mean? Like it became this whole big like argument about we're servant leaders, right? So how are you serving? You're not serving. So what is it that you want to do? And she's like, I just want to be, she was trying to say everything. I just want to be in charge. I just want my name on the paper, right? You know?
Yeah.
But she couldn't come up with, like, she just couldn't figure it out. And Charlotte was even just like having a struggle and a hard time trying to figure out how to defend her and also make this all work, because Brandy and I are like, but this, what about this, this, and this? And it was all the stuff of like that we have been told all of these years.
Yeah.
It's playbook. I'm showing you in black and white the playbook. So what is it that you're wanting to do? Because you're not doing any of these things and you don't want to do. So what is it you want to do? Oh, you don't want to do this. Oh, you don't want to do that. Well, that's what the leader does. Right. And so we just went round and round and round and round at this meeting, and it was nasty. And Brandy and I were like, no holds barred. Like we were just like, we are going to have this meeting. So if we just focus on the meeting, the event, it's not a conference. We're having a SALT training for women's ministry, essentially. And we are going to invite women to like step up and be informed and not advocate, I lost the word, but be their own, have their own autonomy with their membership in women's ministry and in the church, right?
Yeah.
And so
Like take ownership of
like
like
take
who they
ownership
are.
of it. Yeah, and we really wanted, and it really was like a get women involved, get women on the same page. Like there was a lot of grumbling about, well, why does she get to do that and she doesn't do that, and why isn't there? And we always know there's grumbling, and at the end of the day, nobody really wants to do anything, and that's why they just grumble. Because when you go, well, why don't you do something about it? They go, oh, never mind. I don't really want to step up and actually do that.
Yep.
So the model of leadership in women's ministry that Brandy and I had been accustomed to, we were holding Miss America accountable to. And her and Charlotte didn't have adequate resources to defend themselves in that meeting. And so it was, and I think we decided that since we couldn't agree upon what this thing was, because a lot of it was, is it a conference? Is it a this? Is it a that? Right? Like, what is it going to be? No, it's not about, like, this isn't like a women's retreat, right? Like, there was a lot of confusion on what this event was. And so I feel like we came to the, like, if we can't agree, then, and nobody knows what it is, then we don't need to have it. Like, I really remember that we finally got to the point of like, so what are we doing then?
Yeah.
That's what it was. Oh my gosh. Because this was all something, this to me at the moment, it seemed like this was all, that's what it was. This was all Miss America's idea. She wanted to do this thing because she didn't know anything. Oh my goodness. Sorry. My brain is like opening up and all of this is coming back to me now. She didn't know anything, and everybody kept accusing her of not knowing anything, but she didn't know anything because she wasn't participating. She was fighting with you over things because you kept making her cry, which wasn't your fault, but it's because she didn't know anything. And they didn't take any time to get to know anything about the church. They just wanted to come in and take over. And so I feel like she was convinced from Charlotte now that I look back, but at the time, it felt like she wanted to plan this whole thing. So that's what happened at first. Brandy and I stepped up to help her. We were going to help her as leaders in the women's ministry. We were going to be servant leaders and come alongside of her and help her put on this event, right? So that she could learn, because nobody told me how to be in women's ministry. But everybody keeps telling me I don't know these things. And where is it? And because she couldn't figure out how to flip over the back of the bulletin and see everything that the church stands for, we had to have a women's ministry conference. That's where it started. So by the time we get to this point, Brandy and I are fed up. This is your event. What is it that you want to do? We're here to help you. But we were making it move along because that's what we do. And then she was like, I just don't understand. Why are we doing this? Because this is how you do things at this church. So like she knew nothing. And then she was frustrated because she wouldn't do anything. So Brandy and I were putting together this event that we didn't even want to do for a woman who didn't want to do anything, and then got mad at us because she didn't know what the hell to do. And so we ended that meeting with, then we're just not going to fricking do anything. Because I don't even want to do this. I'm out.
I'm just trying to like imagine, because like we now know, like you said, hindsight's 2020. We now know that Charlotte was manipulating and pulling strings behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. And so I think it was probably like it focused on these T's because that was easy.
Yeah.
It's 4 words. It's easy. And so you don't have to have the entire book of John memorized like we all had to in Masterlife. And you don't have to go through all the stuff, all the next steps and spend, months and months of your life going through the process. She can have something that she knows that people can look at her like she is the expert. Mm-hmm. And it's just 4 easy words.
Yep. 100%. Like looking back on it and just, I've been in situations in my personal, like in my marriage with Charlotte as my mother-in-law. And like she chooses when she's going to get involved and when she's not, right? Mm-hmm. And she might sit there and not say anything, and she'll strategically choose when she decides to participate. And that's what this was like, right? It had that same feeling to me as her son acting a fool, and she just sits there and lets him, and then like, and I'm just like, you both are ridiculous. Like, this is ridiculous. You're just gonna sit there and like, this is really, like, you're seeing it and you're just sitting there with your Stedford, dead face, like you have no freaking idea what's going on. Like, almost so you could have plausible deniability that you weren't there and didn't participate because you're not going to stop him. Right. And that's really what it was like. Like, there was just an absolute ignorance is bliss. I'm just letting you ladies hash it out. You guys need to include her. She doesn't want to be included. She really doesn't. She just wants to cry about not being included. And I distinctly remember being like, it's on the back. Like, I wrote this up in an agenda for a meeting, which is why I have this document. And all I did was flip over the back of the bulletin and I typed what was on the back of the bulletin. Like, anybody could read.
And can I just add, that was also on the website.
And on the website. It was everywhere. Like, this was nothing new. But how come you don't know and you don't feel included? And Brandy and I were at the point, it was dumb. Like, it was really dumb. But we were dirty mad about it, to quote Amanda. We were dirty pissed about it. And we weren't backing down and we weren't letting it go. Because it was like, what do you want? Like, what do you want to do? And I remember that was because it was all her idea. And honestly, I feel like it was Charlotte's idea and helping her to be able to get involved. Like, well, but if Miss America didn't feel included, we need to change how we do things for everybody. And Miss America got her feelings hurt. So we have to change everything we do now because there's people out there. Because her feelings were hurt, we must be hurting everybody's feelings.
Yeah.
So let's just say that meeting didn't end very well.
Well, so
and that's why we never did the training, was because Brandy and I were like, I'm not doing it.
So that makes sense now, because all of a sudden, because I was told we were planning like a conference style something. And then all of a sudden it's no, the ladies are going to make these videos.
Yeah.
And Brandy told me that. And I was like, I'm not making no damn video for you. And she's like, oh, no. Like, you don't have to. Miss America wants to make the videos.
Charlotte, Melissa, and Miss America are going to make videos.
Yes. And so this is Miss America's big teaching debut of getting to be holding a microphone, and the whole church looks at her is, you guys make these videos. Ultimately, they get put onto the website. They first get rolled out on the Women's Ministry Facebook page. Then they get shown at the membership banquet. Mm-hmm. Then they eventually get added to the website. But it is all 100% you guys going through the 5 T's.
Yeah.
And I wish we still had these videos, because I've gone through and I've looked and I can't find them anywhere.
Thank God.
Because, well, no, like yours was like, you're Melissa and you're talking and you're normal Melissa.
Yeah.
Miss America is like, it's like she's talking to preschoolers. I don't even remember which T was hers, but and like, it felt like she was talking down to you. And then Charlotte, like, that should have been the 5th T, was terrified, because that is how Charlotte looked. That woman looked terrified to be making that video. But these videos, you guys were planning to make these videos, and Charlotte was so excited about it that we actually, from these videos, we decide to do videos as part of our Christmas Eve service.
Yeah. Because, like, I mean, and honestly, it makes sense, right? Like, the whole world was going online. And I mean, even though the whole world had already been online, Come As You Are needed to, like, catch up. And not the Amanda Come As You Are, because she already was there.
We had been doing it. This is the point of, that I'm so frustrated even thinking about it right now. This is the point where they would be like, oh my gosh, we need to do this and we need to do it on IG. And I'm like, we have been doing, I didn't even invent this. Beth freaking Moore had stuff set up before she left the church. We have been doing this for years. What do you mean? You have a great idea that we should be doing. We have been doing this for years.
I knew that would get you riled up because it's
my God.
Like the 1989 women's ministry was finally like, oh no, COVID happened. We have to go online. Well, the onlines existed before COVID, my friend. So, but yeah, this is like.
My watch just told me that my heart rate is high.
All right. Breathe in. Breathe out. Yeah, so needless to say, it's not going well with the introduction of Barry and Miss America and the promotion of Tom and Charlotte into the flock. And you know, Amanda's like, I think you, me, Brandy, were like, well, yeah, we're doing like Come As You Are stuff, right? We have our whole podcast thing we're doing. We meet together, we're hanging out, we're doing things. But you have your absolute, I'm not involved in women's ministry stand. So Brandy and I, but we go armed and fueled with like, after the collective decision with you. Like, so, I mean, you were a part of all these things and definitely a little bit of the, like, we have to go and we have to take in the spirit of Amanda with us, you know?
No, this was the point where we would all sit at Brandy's house and we would talk and we'd get each other riled up. And then I'd be like, yeah, go do it.
Go get them. In case your two ADD or ADHD friends who are like, we got to go. Give me the ball, coach. Give me the ball.
Burning Butterflies is a listener-supported podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by our amazing supporters on Patreon.
Follow the link in our show notes to learn how you can become a Patreon supporter too. Supporters get exclusive access to bonus content each month, including outtakes, cut content, and supporter-only episodes. If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave us a rating on your listening platform.
Burning Butterflies is a production of Asha Media. Thank you for listening.